Moose Country, welcome to another episode of Let Us Be Heard.
What's up, everybody? Colin back here for another episode of Let Us Be Heard. I am super excited for the guests we have on the show tonight, as they will give us yet another look into a different facet as to how the game goes on from night to night. You may have spoken to this person. You may have seen this person in the barn. Some of the nicest people you ever meet in your life. Please welcome Mike Schultz. Michael Schultz, buddy, thank you so much for making time for me today. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I'm really excited. I think I've already stated it 3 or 4 times that I'm really excited for this particular interview. I'm a big fan of the Moose, and I like to see how the inner workings, the background of how the Moose put on their shows every day. So I'm super pumped to have the chance to talk to you tonight.
Well, hopefully I don't disappoint you.
It's funny because I've asked a few other parents, and I never thought to ask you. I didn't know if you'd be into it or not. But I asked a few parents, like, "Oh no, my son won't let me. My son won't let me." And it was funny. You came up to me at the game, and you're like, "Yeah, I got the okay." Schultz said I can do it.
I had to ask permission.
Yeah,
100%. And it was weird to have to ask my son for permission to do something as a grown adult, but yeah, he was like, go for it.
And
so
he
has a great relationship with you guys, so he was like, yeah, absolutely.
He's a gem. You guys did a great job raising him. He's you can tell that he's kind to the heart. Like, you know what I mean?
I appreciate you saying that. That was all my wife. I had nothing to do with that. So I will definitely tell her. She gets all the credit.
I disagree because I love, and judge me if you want to, but I love being able to brag to people I know that the Schultzes make a special trip down to my section to say hi to me when they're in town. I disagree. I think you guys are genuinely great human beings, and I thank you for loaning us your boy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. You guys it goes both ways. You guys are fantastic to him and to us, and so it's awesome.
All right, so let's start it. I'm going to start out with a fan question.
Yes.
So this is something everybody wants to know, man. This is the behind the scenes look. You're going to have to choose a side, man. It's Canada or U.S. Thanksgiving.
Well, so we actually had our first Canadian Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah.
So let me preface by saying this one. My wife doesn't cook. So, right? So it's who makes the better Thanksgiving to the house we're going to.
Okay.
It's how I have to look at it. But no, it's the same food, right? So it really is the same thing. I will say, though, the Canadian Thanksgiving gives you a little bit more time to put up your Christmas decorations and things like that. You get that extra month because November, we're celebrating Thanksgiving right into December for us. So we actually had a blast at Canadian Thanksgiving this year. We got to do it with Brady and his billets and enjoy it, and then come home, and we hosted Thanksgiving, or went to my brother-in-law's house for Thanksgiving, and he makes an amazing turkey, but we get to enjoy both, right? So I would say they're both equally really good. I love food, and I get to eat turkey twice.
That's very democratic of you. All right, so let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about hockey history in the Schultz house. Now, I got the opportunity to speak to you before a game, and you gave me a little bit of history about Farah's father.
Yep.
I believe it is.
So it's we actually have a pretty big history. So Farah's father, Brady's grandfather, played in the NHL. He was a 1980 All-Star with the Philadelphia Flyers. Finished his career with the Hartford Whalers. Farah's mother sang the national anthem at the Flyers games.
Oh, no way.
They are divorced, and Farah's stepmom, her husband was Larry Kish. He was a coach in Halifax, way back when.
I don't know the name.
So, what's that?
I don't know the name.
Yeah, way back when. So he coached there. She lived in Dartmouth. I played college hockey and then played in the East Coast Hockey League. Farah, Brady's mom, played high school hockey. Brady's brother plays hockey at a very high level here in the States. So a lot of hockey in our family. It's in our blood. We're a hockey family.
Right on. And you had mentioned that Farah's father also played with Bobby Smith, correct?
Yeah, he did. He played against Bobby Smith. And so it was one of the things we talked about when we were up there in camp. and things like that. And so, I mean, the funny story for hockey people are Farah used to hang out with Gordie Howe. She was a baby. And, when he was the Whalers. And so Farah's dad is still friends with the Howe family and things like that. So my wife actually probably met more famous hockey players than anybody. She doesn't really know it, but
so I actually had I think I told you I had the opportunity to meet Gordie Howe one time. He was up here doing an old time hockey game or old timers hockey game, whatever it was called. So I got to meet him and Guy Lafleur and a couple other of the boys. And that was a real treat. That was a real treat. So we already know who got. We don't even have to ask the question who got Brady into hockey, because it's just
you do though, because it's not who you think it is.
All right, who got Brady into hockey?
It's Brady's younger brother.
Okay.
And so here's the funny thing. So we lived out in California. Owen, Brady's brother, was born. We started taking Brady to skate when he was like 3 years old in Anaheim. And skating, we moved back to the Northeast. Being the hockey dad that I was like, I got to go get him equipment. We got to put him in to learn to play hockey. I run out. I buy all the equipment, Colin, come home, put it on him. And I don't know who threw a bigger fit, him or me, because he didn't want to wear the helmet with a cage on it, right? He's never had a cage on at that point. So I had to go cool off a little bit. I just went and spent all this money on the equipment, and I didn't buy anything used, right? I had to buy all brand new stuff for him. And I was like, I'm going to go skate on the pond. And Brady's little brother was like, I'll go. And then Brady was like, well, I want to go too then. And I'm like, well, you got to wear your helmet. And so he put it on, but because of Owen, Brady put on his hockey stuff and hasn't looked back. So I think he owes starting hockey to his younger brother.
So did you have to fight him every time for the helmet after that? Or
No,
was it just the once.
It was just that one thing. I think it's because I think he was wearing a bike helmet when he was just skating around the rinks, right? And so it was the cage. It was nothing else but the cage on his helmet. So maybe he always was going to be the guy that wore the half shield visor up in Halifax, right? So. But yeah, it definitely was his younger brother that got him going.
That's funny, and I never would have thought that. I would have thought it would have been with your guys' hockey history. I figure it would have been one of you guys for sure. You were Farah. When did you know he was able to compete at this level?
I think it's interesting. It's like that level, and I think what we think about is Brady's had a great work ethic and desire to want to excel at a lot of different things. We're from a small town in Connecticut. He played for smaller teams, right? And so I think at 12 years old, he had the opportunity, went over to the World Selects over in Spain, played against guys that are in the NHL right now and guys that all went to the World Juniors in his age group. And so at that point, we're like, wow, he's competing with people he's never had a chance to be out there with before. Then at 14, we made the decision he was going to play U16. And so really play up against guys that were older, bigger, stronger. And he excelled at that point. And we're like, you know what? He's going to succeed at doing this sport.
Now, what position was he at that point?
He was always a defenseman.
Always defenseman, okay.
Colin, when he learned to skate hockey, I thought he was a goalie. He didn't leave the crease. Like we were like, I'm on the board, like move down. And he just stood there in front of his goalie and just never left the crease. He just always wanted to be the guy that stops people from scoring goals. I will tell you, as that hockey crazy dad, I didn't want him to be a goalie. So I did put him in net when we were going to lose like 12-0.
Yeah.
We lost 12-0. He didn't want to play goalie anymore, but he always was a defenseman in every sport he played. So soccer and lacrosse, he played at high levels, and he was always a defender in everything.
So let me ask you, just on a different level, is he a protector at heart?
Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder if
100%.
that has anything to do with it.
Yeah, I tell you what, when I first saw him standing in front of the crease, I panicked because I thought he was going to be a goalie. And then I realized, I was like, man, he just doesn't know what to do, right? But no, he knew what to do. He just stood there and waited. So it was funny. But yeah, he definitely is a protector. And, he's kind of been that way his entire life so far.
That's awesome. I took my son to Hockey Life he wanted to go look at everything, and we were talking to the guy who works there, and I said, we're not sure what position he wants to play. He likes goalie, he likes this, he likes that, and he's like, well, I hope for your sake it's not goalie. He showed me some price tags. I'm like,
Yeah,
me too.
absolutely.
Yeah,
100%. And goalies are a different breed, right? They got to be. They're a little bit out there a little bit.
They're a little funny.
It's a tough position, very tough.
So that brings us to the next level. We had a long talk about camp when you were up here last. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah. In all honesty, I think we told you, like, we looked at it as a 3-day vacation, right? COVID had just happened, or was kind of it was almost over. Brady had been drafted by Halifax, couldn't go the year he was drafted because of COVID and crossing the border. We were like, you know what? The three of us are going to go up. We'll spend 3 days. At that point, we were going to pay for everything because of NCAA guidelines.
Yep.
And so we packed up to go look at, Eastern Canada and go up to Halifax and kind of enjoy it. And, as it went on, we're like, wow, this is going pretty good. And then they came to us and asked us if we would stay a little bit longer. They wanted to see him with the older guys, the veterans. And so, Colin, I think we stayed at 7 different hotels. There was something going on that weekend. And so from a vacation standpoint, it would have been cheaper if I went to the Virgin Islands, because one of the hotels, we had to stay at the Prince George in Halifax because there was nothing else. And we had to get a suite. And I'm like, what, like, we're going to go home. Like, we have to leave here. And, we stayed, and we got an email from the rental car company. The car was due 2 days before that. Like, I had to call them and extend it. My wife told me I had to go get a razor. I looked like I was on a hunting trip. We didn't go up there with anything. And then I don't know what day it was of camp, but I went out in the morning to Tim Hortons. We were staying right next to the RBC Center, and came back and looked over at the RBC. There was 2 rainbows, a double rainbow going over the rink. And I came in the hotel and I said, hey, to Farrah and Brady, I said, today's going to be a really good day. And that's the day they asked Brady to stay and be a Halifax Moosehead. Yeah. And so I remember this too. We went down to Dartmouth Crossing to the subway parking lot. My wife and I shed a lot of tears talking to Brady about what we were going to do. We still didn't know what he wanted to do at that point. And, he reached out to people that we know in the hockey world to ask, what should you do? And, he made the decision right then and there that this is what he's going to do. And I think for Farrah and I, watching that first preseason game at the RBC Center and watching him walk out with the smile from ear to ear, it was like, this is what he's doing.
That's awesome.
This was it. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad he made that decision. So the point in not paying for anything yourself is because if you're there for paying for things for yourself, if you're there for 48 hours, he has to make a decision at that point. And the moment they give you a dime, he's made his decision, correct?
Correct. So that's why we paid for everything, because we didn't know what was going to happen. And then it got extended. And at some point I was like, hey buddy, just say you're going to stay, because I can't keep getting all these hotel rooms. Like, we got to figure this thing out. But it was fine. We were there way longer, and, we had to get back because Owen was starting his freshman year of high school. And so it was just like, it was a whirlwind for us. It really was.
So take us through how it feels to let your baby boy go to a place that he knows nothing about, school he doesn't know, no friends, other than the people on his team, of course. But walk us through that.
Yeah, so it was, probably to this point, it was one of the hardest decisions we've had to kind of make as parents, or go through as parents. It was a whirlwind. And I think the hardest part of the whole thing is Brady was away from us the year before. He was at prep school, but it was an hour and 20 minutes away. So it wasn't another country in 11 hours. And I think, the hardest part about the whole decision is we're a very close family. And so we realized, Brady didn't get a chance to say goodbye to his brother or his cousins or any of his family. And we were going to say goodbye to him, not knowing when we would see him again, because at that time, COVID was still kind of swirling around, but also because of the schedule. Like, so when camp ended, I don't think the game started until October, right? So there was weeks, and then when would we go back up there? Because we have Owen still, right? He's 14. So really, really difficult decision, but it wasn't our decision, right? At the end of the day,
it's his future.
This is Brady's path. This is what he wanted to do. And so, we were proud of him to make that decision, but Farrah and I didn't talk for 11 hours for the car ride home because we couldn't. Like, if I looked at her, I started crying, or vice versa, and we just couldn't talk, right? We were just, holy crap, because we left it. He didn't have anything. Like, we all had duffel bags. Like I said, it was a 3-day vacation. And so we spent quite a bit of money at Walmart getting some shaving stuff and toiletries and all this kind of stuff for him, and went to get him a shirt and tie and everything like that. But it was, and then we're leaving him at someone's house that, we met for a brief time.
So this is the Billets, right?
Yeah, his billets.
So
yeah.
What was it like meeting them for the first time, and did you feel secure when you left them?
Yes. And so, I don't know, I already told you about the double rainbows and signs and things like that. So, we are very fortunate. Brady's more fortunate than we are. He has a great family.
Awesome.
And so when we first met the Billets, she had mentioned she had family in our hometown.
Oh, no
like
way.
It was just a weird coincidence. And it was like, holy goodness. They were very welcoming, right? We met them on their doorstep at, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night. We were dropping them off. But it has been, so it's 2.5 years. When you leave your 16 or just 17-year-old son, he's going to be going through a process of growing up, right? And as a father, you want to make sure that, he's going to be set up for success as a young man. And his billet family, we like co-parent, believe it or not, honest to goodness. And they are great for him. I think the best part about it, though, is we wanted to make sure he was there with a family that had a sibling. Brady's very close with his brother. And so he has a younger brother up there.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's fantastic because he can step away from hockey, right? He gets away from hockey a little bit and, can have that family orientation there. But the neighbors are phenomenal. He goes on the trampoline. He plays street hockey with the little kids. He's just Brady, right? And just gets to enjoy that experience. So, the first thought of leaving him with a family was like, holy goodness, right? What are they going to feed him? How is he going to eat? All these different things. We're blessed, honestly. Like, what a great billet family he has. Colin, if it wasn't for us here in the state, I don't know if Brady would come home. I have to say, I'm being honest, right? He calls it home, and every time he's here, I'm like, dude, this is your home. He's like, that's home. He's only here for 3 months between his summer training and everything else. Like, I think he would just stay.
A lot of players do. They end up retiring here, come back here, work here, go to school here. A lot of players do. But I got to tell you,
you're trying to make me cry by thinking my friend's going to stay. Like, what's the purpose of that one, Colin?
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm just letting you know history is a strange way of repeating itself. But I will let you know you were talking about Brady and kids and brothers, and I got to tell you, man, my son absolutely adores Brady. He's got his number on the hat. He got the stick from Brady. That was the best thing anybody could have done for him. When Schultz gave him the stick, that he was over the moon happy. But not only that is when he comes out to talk to the fans of the because we don't go underneath to talk to the players. There's enough people down there. We wait outside and give them a hey, great game on the way out. But Schultz is one of those players who beelines it to the fans. And he'll sit there and he'll talk with you, or in the garage, wherever we see him. He has no problem putting time aside to talk to the fans, and he's just absolute gem of a guy, man. Honest to God, I'm not kissing your ass. He's just a really good down home boy.
That's great to hear, and I love it. And I think it's I think he is just taken in the moment, knowing how important that fan base is to the team. Like, to be honest. I joke about this, but when we left him there, we had not seen Scotiabank Center, right? We didn't know where they actually played. And so I remember when he told us and he was there and we talked to him afterwards and he's like, they get like 9,000 people a game. I'm like, what? Where?
In that little place?
Yeah. And so, but I will say, I know once he was there, Brady's grandfather did tell him to, enjoy the moment, right? It's not going to be there forever.
That's a common piece of advice I keep hearing, by the way.
Yeah. And so, I think the fans are amazing there, and the support that those players get from everybody, good days and bad days, right?
Yep.
They're always there to support the players. And so, I think he's just, understanding that there's a bigger piece to it than just playing on the ice. It's the after thing. And you know what? Whether they win or lose, those kids are there with a smile on and just want to talk to them.
Yep.
And so he knows that. And I'm glad to hear, from your son's standpoint and the fan standpoint that, he should be smiling.
Oh,
those are there to see him. So it's great.
He's a great hockey ambassador, and the kids that he's talking to are the hockey kids of the future, the hockey players of the future, right? So it means a lot. Do you feel like the Mooseheads as an organization have your son's best interest at heart?
Yeah. I'll say they treat those kids well, right? And they take care of them. There's a mentorship program that the kids all take part in, which I think is for young men it is fantastic. Right. And I've met his mentor, great guy, great family. And so exchange text messages back and forth and talk to them. I think
he's a former Moose, correct?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay. All right.
No, he's a police officer.
Okay, because there is a mentorship program involving former Mooseheads where I think the last one I spoke to, I just did Jesse Lucier, and he was a member of that program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think from the education standpoint, making sure they're doing their schoolwork and getting into the classes they need to get in. I think and now with from a hockey standpoint, right? The Simons have brought in the special coaches, skating coaches, shooting coaches, and they have the resources at the arena for the kids, whether it's nutrition wise or things like that. So they absolutely have Brady's best interest at heart, and I believe that. And they've been very good to him.
You spoke of the trainers and such. I got to say, I've seen I thought Brady was great last year, but he's become literal brick wall on that blue line for us. It's very, very seldom anything gets past him, especially like on a power play and such. So I don't know if they've worked on that this year, but there's been multiple games where I've told him, like, man, like nothing was getting by you on that blue line. Nothing.
Yeah, like I said, I think they do a great job with the coaching staff. And listen, they have great coaches. They brought in another great coach this year, right? And so I do think they have the kids' best interest there, and they're looking after them. And from a parental standpoint, it's not just about the hockey, right? It's also the other things. Brady called us. He got to go to the Ronald McDonald House, right, and spend time with the kids. And they do all those little things that I know it's important for other people, right, to see the Mooseheads, but I don't think they realize how important it is for those players to do things like that and how much it actually means to them when they get to do it, go to a school and read a book or talk. And so being able to do all those things, I think it helps the hockey players kind of step away from hockey a little bit and just enjoy being a Halifax Moosehead, not on the ice.
So actually it's funny because I'm going to skip through a couple questions here because you said that. Oh, sorry, I got a warning coming up on my computer. Where's it at? So how does it feel when you walk into the arena and you see your son being spoken about or thought of as some sort of celebrity? What's that like for you as a father?
Yeah, shocking. I don't see him as a celebrity, right? So it is shocking. It is as a parent, as a father. My wife and I are always pinching ourselves, right? It's fantastic, and so I think when you walk in there and you see them wearing the boys' jerseys, I call them boys, young men.
They're another boys. We call them our boys.
And the fans that support those kids, I think it's great, right? And so this was the experience he wanted to have. And so as a parent walking in there, seeing that, it's like, holy crap, that's our little guy, right? That's our little kid. And so it's really freaking cool. And I think with our hockey background, I mean, my father-in-law was a 1980 All-Star, right? He played in the NHL. And so he has that hockey, celebrity status kind of thing. But to watch Brady come in and do it from, the little town that we came from or come from is freaking cool, right? I'm not gonna lie, it is awesome to see, and every time we get up there and we see it, we pinch ourselves like, wow, it's awesome.
Do you want to drop his grandfather's name?
What's that?
You want to drop his grandfather's name?
Yeah, Norm Barnes.
Okay.
Yeah, his name is Norm Barnes, played for the Flyers, was a 1980 All-Star, and then finished his career with the Hartford Whalers.
So, did you know about the Mooseheads before moving here?
So
before he moved here?
Yeah, so, because of I play in the East Coast League, I play with a lot of guys that played Canadian junior hockey. And so I think you hear of a couple organizations, right? Halifax Mooseheads being one of them. But you only hear of them. I didn't know there was 9,000 fans that bleed green, right? And wear the Mooseheads antlers and all of that stuff. But yeah, we knew of them, teams that have great reputation. Obviously Bobby Smith, the owner that for so long, and the tradition they had and things like that. So yeah, there's a couple of teams we knew of. The London Knights, the Ottawa 67s. I knew the Kootenay Ice just from different guys that played for different places, but we knew of them. And when he was drafted by them, it was kind of still like, okay, wow, right? But are we going or not going?
So, Halifax isn't exactly down the street. How many games are you able to get to a year?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Where we live, we go to Brady has told us not to go to Val-d'Or or Rouyn-Noranda, if I say that correctly.
Yeah.
If I didn't say that correctly,
You did? No, that was good. That was good.
We go to all that Quebec trip. Like, we'll go to all those games.
Really?
And yeah.
I didn't know. So when they're away. Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So we'll see Brady this year a lot in February, right? Because they're going to do the Shawinigan, and then they do the Sherbrooke and Quebec. And then we get up to Halifax probably 6 to 8 times a year, always at least seeing 2 home games.
Wow. That's actually amazing considering how far away you guys are. Like
Yeah, it's an easy drive though. I know I say this all the time. It is 10.5 hours, right? It is straight up the coast. And I know you had Davis on, and part of my homework, I watched some of these to make sure I didn't make myself look like an idiot or sound like an idiot anyways. But he's right. You are in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
For a little bit of it, right? When you're going through Maine and things like that. And then, I will tell you, Colin, the first time we went up there, it was the first time I ever drove over a railroad crossing doing 90 miles an hour.
That's in Moncton. That's in Moncton, right?
Yeah. I've never seen that before, that you would literally stop on a highway for a railroad. Like, holy cow. But it was crazy. We laugh all the time because on the way up there, my wife talks about this all the time, but you see these moose signs, the moose crossing.
Yep.
It's a lie. I think they do it just for tourism. I've never seen a moose.
Did you ever see that video of the girl calling the city to complain that they should move the deer crossing signs so the deer don't cross there?
No, no, I have not. But we laugh about it all the time because I actually saw 3 moose going to Bathurst that first year for the playoffs.
That's rare. That's
rare.
rare.
Saw them on that road, 3 females. But yeah, so it's a long drive for hours, but it actually it's easy. It's really straight. And look, we're a hockey family. One weekend we go see Brady, and then we're going to see Owen, right? So we know we bookends our weekends. We know we're going to be somewhere. And you know what? Halifax is a great city, and we enjoy being there. And so we're taking it in just like he is.
I just think it's crazy that you make almost half the games in a year being from that far away. Like that's commendable. Like you guys are
watching, and then we watch all the other ones, so we don't miss a single game, and it's fun.
You guys are definitely all in for your kids. I love it. Now you spoke about how you like Halifax. Halifax is a great town. You've made friends in the building. Is that something you would have seen coming? Like, and let me reiterate. Let me expand on that. You have no problem talking to any fans. whether they know who you are or not. You have no problems doing. I know of a couple favors you've done for a fan or two. You, as I said, you walk down to say hello to me and my family, and that's always appreciated. But did you see that you guys yourselves would make connections in the barn as well?
No, I mean, I think I told you it's a 10.5-hour drive. My wife doesn't want to talk to me after 4 hours. So I don't talk to anybody for 7.5 hours. And so the rink, I just want to talk to anybody. Right. But no, I wouldn't. Like I said, I think we're enjoying the moment. The fans, I won't even call them fans, the community, right? That's built around the Halifax Mooseheads. They're welcoming and they're friendly. And, you know, I want to talk to anybody that wants to talk hockey or anything like that. And, you know, I get a lot of the questions like you asked, like Canadian Thanksgiving versus, you know, US Thanksgiving. Like, you know, we're not that far away, but there's different things that we all do, right? And so just asking those questions, and, you know, I don't think there's a lot of US players that end up playing in the CHL. So, you know, answer a lot of those questions and stuff like that. But you know what? Everyone is so good to Brady that I see. And you know what? I want to make sure that, you know, I enjoy the moment too, right? These are all of our memories.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but no, I honestly think it's because my wife doesn't want to talk to me over that whole weekend from the car ride. And then she has to drive home with me too. So, but yeah, the people are great and I just have fun, right? Just enjoying it.
Speaking of the drive home, you guys, last time you were down, you went home without Brady.
Yeah.
At the break, do you know what he said? Did he tell you guys or?
So here's the thing, Colin. You probably talk to Brady way more than we do, right? This was the shocking thing. We went up there. We were like, we'll go up for December 15th to the 17th. You guys are going to be coming home. So come home with us, right? Because we want to watch 3 games. We could have seen 3 home games.
Yep.
No. We're like, what do you mean? No, I'm flying home. Well, if you fly home, that means we have to leave a day early. We can't watch the last home game. He goes, well, I'm flying home. I'm like, oh my God, you don't want to spend 10.5 hours with us? He goes, no, absolutely not.
Why should I drive when I can fly is what he told us.
Yeah. So we drove all the way up there figuring like, why would you only got to see 2 games, didn't get to see the 3rd game, which I think we were more upset about than driving home with him. And then got home we had to plan our trip, Colin, to make it home in time to put the game on, to watch the game, then get up in the morning and drive up to Boston to pick him up at the airport.
The things we do for our kids, eh?
I mean, yeah.
Like, he could have at least endured the drive with you.
Yeah, I mean, Colin, I don't know about you, but we get the thumbs up on the text messages. You talk to him way more than we do. And so, like, we thought we could catch up.
Listen, the only time my middle child texts me is when she wants something. That's literally it.
Sounds about right.
It's nuts. So I gotta ask, game. We had a crazy week. What did you think seeing your boy play forward? And how do you think he did?
Yeah, so it was interesting, right? Had no idea. We don't talk to him on game days or anything like that at all. We don't ever really talk to him much, but we talk to him. But we found out through the post of the line chart, right? With the Halifax, and I was like, holy crap, Brady's playing forward. Like, not
only forward, getting first line minutes.
Yeah, and so it was, you know, he played forward once before. He was exhausted after that game. I think it took him 2 hours to come out because he just sat there trying to catch his breath, because it is very different up and down the ice than, you know, but it was fun. And I think, you know, we always watched the whole part of the game and listening to, you know, Brad talked on the radio, just saying he told the kids just have fun with it. It's one of those games. And I think
what happens.
Everybody thought it was going to be a 15-0 game. You had, you know, all these call-ups, and I think I could be wrong in numbers. I think you had 5 regular forwards playing in that game.
I don't even know how many. So we had nine forwards and 5 call-ups. I think we had 3 forwards called up, so that means we would have 6 regular people on there. But out of the 6 regular players, only 3 of them were regular forwards.
Yeah.
Right. So it was a mess.
Yeah, and so I loved watching him. It was great to watch him play forward, right? And it was neat to watch something a little different. I thought he did great. He did what he was supposed to do out there, and he played wing, got the puck out of the zone, and got an assist on the first goal, which was crazy. We were laughing. His billets Texas, like he had the first shot on net, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just one of those things.
But he actually does have a great shot.
Oh well,
Like when he lets it fly, he actually does have a good shot.
Yeah. So
right?
we have a lot of holes in the basement walls and stuff like that to understand why, or our brand new garage that he came home last summer, Colin, and we were gone, and we just moved, so we have a different setup, and there's all these puck marks in our brand new garage, and we're like, dude, like of all things you had to start doing was putting holes in walls. What was I gonna do? I got to shoot somewhere. Like,
so we have mini sticks in the house for CJ, but that's about as far as we'll go in the house for him. Yeah. Favorite Moose memory?
There's a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
In a very short time for me. So, I got a couple. I'll kind of go. You'll go through my history of the Mooseheads, right?
All right, let's hear it.
The first game you ever played, right? My father-in-law, Brady's godfather, my best friend, we drove up to Cape Breton. So that was an experience all in itself because I didn't realize it was that much further.
It is. It's like 4
no one told me
hours. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I won't even go there.
Well, I did. Got to go see the biggest violin or fiddle, right? There's a landmark up there, a big fiddle we had to go see. So went and saw that. So seeing his first game, that was amazing. Being at the game where they wore the blue Citadel jerseys, he scored his first Q goal. I was there with my father. So it was my father and I, and got to watch Brady score his first goal. That was amazing.
That's actually pretty amazing. 3 generations in the same building. Yeah, that is actually pretty amazing.
Fair and I, the first time we walked into Scotiabank Center, like I said, we hadn't seen it. We had never been there. So when we walk in and we see there's 9,000 people in here, like
on average,
that's amazing. The guys he met the first year, Davis, Jonesy, all those kids were phenomenal for him, for Brady to be there. Last year, the playoff run was ridiculous. No one gave him a chance against Sherbrooke, and we went to all the games, and to go to Sherbrooke and see the fans of the Mooseheads that went up there and supported them and watch those kids battle and win that, and then go to Quebec where the first couple games they were booing us in the stands, but 19,000, that place was shaking, and you're like, holy. But by the end of it, the last game in Quebec, people came up like, you guys got a great team. Whoever wins this one is going to do well in the Q, like in the Memorial Cup. And so that was amazing, right? That's a huge memory. I think this year for us, Brady personally wise, scoring the 1,000th, the goal in overtime to win the 1,000th game, like he's part of Moosehead's history.
Yep.
And I think watching him evolve over the 3 years now that he's been there, it's all been a memory. Right. And we're soaking it all in. So I think all of those things, playing forward, right? I mean, he's never really played forward, but he's going to play forward in the CHL, right? Like, think about that. So all those things are memories that we get to have.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of them.
And what's next?
Well, like I said, Colin, you talked to Brady.
For the Schultz family. Not for Brady, for the Schultz family.
For the family.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good one. I don't know. You know what? We kind of live along with our kids, right? And so, hopefully, maybe we'll get an RV and get rid of the house and get an RV and just decide, it's time.
Yeah, just move to Nova Scotia. Just move to Nova Scotia.
So, we're along for the ride of both of our kids, and so they're both kind of forging their own paths of what they're going to do, and we're in a car followed along, right? That's what we're doing. So
Owen, your other son, is he a couple years younger than Schultz?
He's 2 years younger than Brady.
So is he at that level too, or is he going to be at that level?
We hope so. He wants to be, right? They're two different kids.
Yeah, 100%.
So
I'm just wondering if we're gonna have another Schultz on the team here in a year or so.
Yeah. Owen is 6'4".
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So very different. They're two different people, right? And so he just grew 3 or 4 inches over the last year or so, and so now he's kind of grown into his body a little bit. So he's doing his thing. He's actually no one lives at home, right? So we've been.
Oh, he would be at prep school as well.
So he's down in New Jersey playing. And so, and doing his thing and seeing what his path is going to be.
And is he defense as well? Like, does he look up to his brother and follow that?
So his brother looks up to him, right? He's 6'4". So he would make me say that to you, Colin. I'm just gonna,
I get it. Yeah.
He would make me say that. No, yeah, he's also a defenseman. Both of my kids, they're both the same way, right? You said it best, but they're both been like protectors. They always wanted to play defense. They would be the last people to raise their hands to play forward. But they've always been defenders. So yeah, he plays defense, and I think he's just trying to figure out what's going to be best for him. And I think they've done a nice job supporting each other, and they talk a lot, and they use each other for advice and stuff like that. It's nice to see.
Yeah, man. 100%. Listen, Mike, we've blown through the questions. I just want to say thank you for your time tonight. This is honestly probably going to go down as one of my favorite interviews. Your son's a great guy. He gets it, honestly. You and Farrah are both amazing people, and I just want to say thank you for giving us your time.
Oh, Colin, thank you guys, and I appreciate you doing this, and this was fun.
Awesome, man.
It was fun.
We'll see you at when?
So we got February. We're doing the Quebec trips in February, but we'll look at the calendar. You may see us this month. We don't know yet, right? Like awesome. We kind of do it a little bit at a time. So
all right, man. Well,
we'll see you soon.
Come say hi when you do stop by.
Always.
All right, man. Take care.
Thanks, Colin.
Thank you, man.
Tell everybody we said hi.
Take care. I will.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks for watching, everybody. That was Michael Schultz, Brady Schultz's father. Hope you're all healthy, safe, and happy out there. And as always, go Moose, go.